Hello all, as I slide around. Anyway, welcome everybody. Sorry, I was getting things set up a little late today. So sorry. I was here getting ready. I've got my notes, so at least I'm ahead of the game on that one. Anyway, welcome everybody. Let me get TikTok rolling here. Microphone on for TikTok. Go live. There we go. All right. Ulm, Germany. Ulm. Anyway, hey, TikTokers, hang on here. TikTokers. There we go. All right, TikTokers are ready. YouTubers, hey guys, how are we all doing today? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Summer of the Twin Cities. I know it was like 80. It is 83 right now in Chicago. That's insane. It can't be 83 still. It's 82. It hit 83 today here, which is, Alexa, what is 83 Fahrenheit and Celsius?
83 degrees Fahrenheit is about 28.33 degrees.
28 degrees Celsius today in Chicago. 83 Fahrenheit. Insane for the end of October. I mean, this is a cold town. Like, that's insane. It's wonderful. We had a great walk with the dog, but like, it should not be this warm. I mean, this is wrong. Thank you, Diana. User John, Oren, Jorge, and I think Mark, I think even threw a gift in there as I was getting started. Chazak, thank you guys. Yeah, just like crazy weather here. Is Europe having the same thing or not? As far as like unseasonably warm fall, it's been like downright summertime here. Hey Jay, hey Jeff, hey Dr. Ryan, Max Trax, thank you for the gift. Newspapers I subscribe to: Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Washington Post. Those are the three I subscribe to. And then the rest I kind of cheat and try to get for free. But I figure I subscribe to three, so I'm doing my part to help the media survive. So, but I like them. Like, I like the Wall Street Journal for like financial news and stuff. And New York Times, Washington Post, it's just difficult to follow politics and not read them, I find. Germany. Now, but is this, the European temperatures, is this normal? Is this warmer? Is this cooler? Like in the States, it's been crazy, especially Chicago's been crazy warm. Like even warmer than DC in many ways. And DC should be very warm compared to Chicago. A bit warmer than usual, but nothing crazy. Oh, that's interesting, Jens. Okay. Here, this is crazy what's going on with the temperature here. It may be global warming. Who knows? I do digital subscriptions to the papers because, ink, and they're lazy in DC and you got to go downstairs and get your paper. Thank you, Ryan. In the old days, they would deliver it at your door, like in a building, and now they're lazy little fucks. So you got to go downstairs and get it. And I'm like, ugh. And getting rid of newspapers. Oh my God. The papers build up like this. And unless you're cleaning your windows, it's like, what do you do with the paper? Thank you, NJ Patman. And Ryan, multiple gifts from Ryan. Thank you. Nicolette as well. But yeah, so Chicago's been crazy. I don't know if the whole country has been like unusually warm, but like I said, I think somebody said Minnesota, which makes sense because the Midwest. Thank you, Mrs. Toad. It's been just crazy warm, but nice. I mean, like I said, 83 today, which, what did we say? 28 Celsius. I mean, again, crazy, absolutely crazy. Anyway, thank you, Life. Thank you, Ryan. Anyway, all right, guys. So welcome all. Thank you, Crazy American. Toronto's 27 too. And now that's interesting because Toronto, you guys are really far north from, well, actually, are you that far? Well, yeah, you must be pretty far north compared to us in Chicago, I would think. I don't know if Toronto winters are any worse than Chicago winters. Are they? You guys might get more snow. I'm trying to remember, actually. We think of Canada as in general getting sort of worse winters, Hey, Wild Hunt. Oh, anyway. All right, guys. Well, as just above Buffalo, oh, then you must get nasty winters if you're above Buffalo. Do you get lake effect like they do, or just curious? Hey, Ryan, thanks for the gift. So yeah, guys, so welcome. As you know, anybody who's a regular, this is the show where we cover the U.S. elections. We also cover the war in Ukraine because that's what started it all in terms of my coverage. So first half of the show, we do elections. Second half, we talk about Ukraine. And then I open it up for questions and comments and all of that. And we usually hang a good hour and 15 minutes, maybe an hour and a half on a good day. So strap yourselves in. Thank you, Carol. Oren's in Buffalo. Cool. Yeah, I've always been jealous of the snow you guys get. I'm sure it's not fun to like shovel and stuff, but I just would like to experience. As a kid, I experienced snow like that. We had a crazy blizzard in 1967, I think, in Chicago. That was amazing. But like since then, I've experienced blizzards, but that might have been 32 inches, like 3 feet. I'm trying to remember a meter. Thank adventures, but haven't experienced it since then. But as a kid, it was cool too because it's like over your head. It was amazing. Anyway, all right, guys. Let's get rolling on the election stuff. Then we'll do Ukraine. Just a reminder, everybody, because I have not been pushing it as much. I've got the auction set up on Discord. They end on Wednesday. This weekend on Friday, I put up like 8 more items. We got 12 items, 12 or 13 items on the auction. Do check them out. I've got really cool stuff from my mom's estate. I figured we'd do like a little estate sale, but some really cool stuff. And I'd be bummed out if people didn't get a chance at it because it's otherwise we'll just give it to charity. But it's I try to pick what I think are neat things. So I'll talk about it at the end of the show, but do check them out on Discord. All right. And the mods can tell you how to get to Discord. Connecticut in February? No, thank you. So 15 days until the U.S. elections. Very interesting the last few days. Thank you, Jeremy. Lots of discussion of Trump's declining mental state. Very interesting. The auctions will be sent anywhere in the world as long as you pay postage. Yes. Thank you, Cool. So just go check out our Discord. The mods can tell you how to get there on TikTok or YouTube. But yeah, I'll send them anywhere. Just the winner pays postage. So if it's to Europe, we figure out the postage and you pay it. Otherwise, we're good. If it's a small item, obviously, well, postage. It starts at like $18 to ship stuff to Europe and then goes up from there. So this is interesting, guys. A lot of discussion of Trump's mental state in the last few days by the media, but a lot. Now, Trump has always been wacky. Okay, we know that. But a lot of people, I'm not saying this is hyperbole. This has been it is really interesting the last few days. There's a real discussion that started with the Associated Press, the other mainstream press, even conservative press, the National Review. Their guy was on one of the news shows this weekend, and I watched the tape, and he said basically, it is clear that Trump is suffering from mental decline. He is not the man he was in 2016. He's saying crazier things. He gets more confused. It was. I mean, he literally said he is suffering mental decline. It was very interesting to hear. Somebody from the National Review, which is a super conservative publication. Thank you, Oren. Say that. The media has picked up on it. The stuff that's been happening and again, Trump was always crazy. We know that, and dangerous. But as far as like losing his mind, the last couple months, actually, they've canceled a ton of appearances. August, they canceled like all of Trump's appearances in August, just like canceled them. And this wasn't because of the shooting. This was like, for some reason, Trump just wasn't doing stuff. He just wasn't doing anything. Then September, they promised they were going to have even more appearances. Oh no, this is just a break. September didn't happen either. Now Trump has canceled a bunch of interviews. I mean, and Fox News tried to go, well, he was shot at. He has to protect himself and he's hiding. Interviews with newspapers? How does that protect him from getting shot again? Interviews with newspapers are not dangerous, right? Unless you're, an idiot and you come across like an idiot, then it's a very dangerous interview, but it's not physically dangerous, right? He's canceled all these interviews in the last few weeks. He went off for 39 minutes and danced on stage the other day. He didn't dance. He did what Trump does, where he goes, that weird little old man thing he does. He had a town hall meeting. And in the town hall, he took a couple questions and then turned to the crowd and said, I don't think you want to hear my answers to questions. Mind you, guys, they were there for a town hall to ask Trump questions. Okay. He goes, you don't want to hear me answer questions. And it's like, no, that's literally what this event is. They came to ask you questions. You don't want to hear me answer questions. Let's put on my favorite music instead. And he starts playing, some of the gayest music, which I always laugh at as a gay man, Io Partirò or whatever the hell it is by Andrea Bocelli, but it's some version with some woman. So it's like even gayer and puts that on. And he's doing his little 39 minutes. Trump did this. 39 minutes. Trump did this, guys. No, and I mean, he played YMCA, which was gay too, but that wasn't, Republicans do that a lot. That was not a sign of mental decline. That was just Republicans being very weird, because YMCA is a gay anthem about having sex at the YMCA. It's having gay sex at the YMCA. It's very funny. The Republicans love to play it at events, and Trump does too. That's not a sign of crazy. That's just a sign of being a little stupid. 39 minutes, Trump sat there on stage going like this while they played, and it was timed by the media, 39 minutes, while he just pretended to dance instead of answering questions. This weekend, he does an event, a Friday or Saturday, and he's talking about Arnold Palmer, a very famous American golfer who's died now. Super fan, like probably the most famous American golfer, really, probably. And Trump starts talking about him, and for a couple minutes, just starts talking about the size of Arnold Palmer's, junk, as we say in English. He's talking about how big the man is in the shower and how everybody used to talk about him. And this is a campaign event. And people are like, you're talking about the penis of some man being really large, and that's why you like him? I mean, it was crazy. Arnold Palmer's daughter then came out and issued a statement and said, "My father hated you. My father literally hated you." She came out and totally sort of clarified. Thank you. And yes, thank you, Ava. Keep the gifts coming, guys. What he did something else. What was the other crazy thing he did? Arnold Palmer and Kamala Harris. He then is talking about Kamala Harris 3 days ago or so, and goes, she's terrible. She's this. She was a shit vice president. It's hard to explain, again, if you're not American. Thank you, Sunshine. We don't swear like that. First of all, I try not to swear, but I swear, right? And I'll do it occasionally on the show. Thank you, Betsy. I don't know in Europe, in other languages, whether swearing is more common. Thank you, Sunshine. In America, it is not. In a professional setting, you do not swear. In a political setting, you do not swear. You do not. In public, a candidate for president does not swear, period. And thank you, Sunshine. And to make it, and thank you, Christina and Kano and Succeed, to make it a personal attack as well, to say she was a shit vice president, is, first of all, it's not even correct English, because it would be shitty vice president, not a shit vice. Like, that was weird too. And again, that was Trump, as far as that was the mental decline stuff too. Like, he's literally making an expression in English that doesn't exist in English. It wasn't even correct. No one says you're a shit vice president. That's not correct. Thank you, Sunshine. Thank you, Macabre and Kokanos. There's something wrong with the guy. What is, I think, interesting and troubling and disturbing is, I think we're now at the same point we were with Joe Biden. And it's the question of, is Trump going to survive a term in office because of his own health? At the very least, I'm not convinced he's going to be able to be president in 4 years because of this, because he's got his father had dementia. I mean, like that kind of Alzheimer's, I think. It's like this kind of stuff. But what's interesting, as I said, is the media is talking about it. The conservative media is talking about it. Thank you, Barbara. Also, there's been very interesting, a big discussion going on about J.D. Vance and whether J.D. Vance is basically gearing up to be president. And Trump hates that kind of stuff. Trump does not want anybody who thinks they're going to be president other than him. And there's a lot of discussion as to whether J.D. Vance, his vice presidential pick, is basically already positioning himself to be president. It's fascinating. It's scary, because J.D. Vance is, I don't even know what you'd say about J.D. Vance. Hi, Misha. It's true. It's true. But that was a previous discussion. I don't want to go back to there, but it's totally true. But having said that, we've had a lot of early voting in the U.S. 15 million people voted already, which is huge. Early voting is good because in this country, not a lot of people vote. Like 65% is a lot of people voting in this country. In Europe, I know some places like Britain get bad like us. Some other countries get a lot more, like 75, you guys were saying the other day, or more. So it's good we have early voting because it makes it easier for people to vote, and they vote. The bad part about early voting is it locks in your vote, meaning right now Kamala Harris and Trump are, well, actually two things with the early voting that are interesting. Thank you, Lamb Chop. 2 weeks ago when it started, Kamala Harris was doing a little better. So maybe you locked in good early votes, right? Now we're 2 weeks later and the election got tighter. As we get closer and closer to the election, if Harris is able to show that she is so much better than Trump in the next 2 weeks, a lot of people will have already voted and it's too late to change their minds, so to speak. So early voting is an interesting quandary as far as helping, hurting. Now, for Democrats, generally speaking, it helps because early voters tend to be Democrats. which is very interesting. There's no way, Julian, that can't be true. Julian says some states let you change your vote. I'd be very surprised, but is that true? Really? Just curious if people know that I'm very surprised if that's the case. Hey, Pedro, thank you. Hey, Grumpy, thank you. But very interesting, very interesting. As far as the early voting thing, but typically early voting favors Democrats. Absolutely, that's why Trump it was actually very funny. Last time around, Trump said that people shouldn't vote early because it's dangerous and they'll steal your vote and your vote isn't secure and people shouldn't do it. And his people therefore didn't vote early. And it killed him. He lost the election. And all the Republicans were like, are you insane? You literally told Republican voters not to vote early. Because again, early voting is easier, right? Like I got my absentee ballot from DC today, a friend sent me. If you vote absentee, like you mail it in, there's a more likely chance of you doing that than going, like in New York City, when I was living in New York, the line was around the block. I'd never seen this in my life, around the block. And I was like, you think I'm going to stand in line for an hour or two to vote? And in that case, we already knew, Hillary was going to win New York. So I was like, whatever. Early voting absolutely helps people vote more. Trump convinced people not to vote early. Apple user says there's like 6 states that allow you to change, but it's a process. Okay, interesting. In Sweden, you can change your vote all the way to election day. Interesting. Okay, very interesting. Any case, let's move on here. So a little bit more of Trump's career. I had to read you this story. This is from CNN, talking about Trump and his mental problems he's having now. CNN wrote a story, and I kind of like this. CNN wrote a story that is mostly just a transcript of Trump doing an event with Elon Musk. Elon Musk, is sucking up to Trump and wants something and is now endorsing Trump and stuff. Trump, by the way, hates electric cars. He's all for gasoline and oil. And he hates electric cars, thinks they're bad, but is sucking up and doing events with Elon Musk, even though he's saying, don't buy electric cars. It's crazy. CNN does an article today that is beautiful because literally the entire article is a transcript of Donald Trump at this event with Elon Musk. I'm going to read this to you. I don't have my hair. My Donald Trump hair is still in the room, packed away. We'll have to get it when I get back to DC in 2 weeks. But listen to this. Former President Donald Trump on Monday told several meandering stories while discussing Elon Musk's support for his candidacy. I love Elon, by the way, Trump said in Greenville, North Carolina. Trump said, Musk makes a great car, but he recognizes Teslas aren't perfect for everyone. So thinking of me, so already Trump's on stage with Elon. He goes, oh, he makes a great car, but that car is not for everybody. Which is like, imagine Elon sitting there going, thank you. You just told your people don't necessarily buy my car. He says, some want gasoline propelled. Trump said, and we have a lot of gasoline right under there. And some want other things. They want to have a hybrid. Trump then said he did not like, this is great. So Trump then starts talking about hydrogen fueled cars. Trump said he did not like hydrogen-fueled vehicles and graphically described what happens when something goes wrong with them. You know the story with hydrogen. It's great until it blows up, in which case you're not recognized. Trump is suggesting that hydrogen cars will blow up like the Hindenburg, and that they won't be able to recognize your body afterwards, he tells the crowd. Again, like he's sitting there with an electric car guy on stage. And he's now talking about how electric car or non-petroleum cars will explode and wipe your body away. Trump pointed to a man in the crowd. Listen to this. So even guys, strong guys like this, they call your mom or your wife. Is that a mom? Or whoa, look at that. Oh, I know them. Very wealthy parents. I know them. No, your kids wouldn't be recognizable. That's not a good thought. How's my son doing? Well, he tried the new hydrogen car. It didn't work out too well. That was Trump riffing about parents losing their children in hydrogen cars because the hydrogen car will explode like the Hindenburg and the children will be blown to pieces and the parents won't be able to find their bits and recognize them. That's what Trump was just doing at the rally. But of course, the way he said it is like he's losing his mind, guys. Next, Trump recalled watching TV as one of Musk's rockets landed. I was on the phone talking to a very important guy, actually, and I have the television muted. It's dead muted. And I see this ball of fire come like a 20-story building. It's coming down. I say, would you do me a favor? Hold. And what the hell is happening? I thought maybe it switched over to a movie or something, and I put the phone down. Very important guy. You know what? I never picked it up. The guy was holding for like 45 minutes. I forgot he was on the phone because Trump then pointed towards the media section, and now there are these idiots back there will say he's cognitively impaired. I mean, as Tony just said, and it's still close. We have a close election with this dangerous idiot running for president. It boggles my mind. And again, this is unfortunately the appeal of fascism, which is too bad. Sorry, doing more. My lips have been so dry lately, but it is the clear appeal of fascism to too many people. It just blows my mind. Trump was then at a rally in North Carolina. He refused to denounce violence against federal emergency workers. Basically, Trump has been lying when there's a natural disaster, a hurricane. The people who go on the ground immediately to help communities that are in trouble be wiped out, right, by these storms. And Trump has been lying and saying, oh, they're refusing to give money because we just had 2 hurricanes in the Southeast. They're refusing to give any money. Lie. They're only giving like $700. Lie. They're giving all the money away to Mexicans. Lie. Total lie. And it has been fact checked again and again and again and again and again. Okay. Well, someone listening to Trump decided to go and try to kill these federal workers because they're refusing to help good Americans that are in trouble, Donald Trump told them. Trump then got asked about it and refused to condemn the guy who said he was going to kill federal workers, commit an act of terrorism on behalf of Donald Trump. He refused to criticize the guy. Thank you, Martin. This man is dangerous as hell. He tried to violently overthrow the government on January 6th of 2021. He said he was going to throw out our Constitution. I mean, it boggles my mind how freaking dangerous this man is. Anyway, a little more here. As of, what was it? Harris. Kamala Harris joined Republican former Representative Liz Cheney in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, 3 very important states, to court undecided independents and Republicans. This story is very interesting. Kamala Harris is campaigning with one of the most conservative former members of Congress who exist. Liz Cheney is as conservative as you do not get more conservative. Part of the Cheney family. Her father was Dick Cheney, who was U.S. Vice President, who was U.S. Defense Secretary, right? And we call him Darth Vader because he was just like so right wing it wasn't even funny. So she's campaigning Harris with his daughter, super right wing, but the daughter stood up to Donald Trump. The daughter refused to let Trump get away with trying to violently overthrow our government. Okay. So Trump hated her. Trump basically got her forced out of office. So she's campaigning with Harris. Now, what's really interesting, Cheney is super pro-life. She's anti-abortion because she's a far-right conservative, right? She's a far-right Republican. She's, of course, opposed to abortion. She's campaigning with Kamala Harris talking about abortion. This blew my mind because she's saying, look, I'm opposed to abortion, but what Trump did by taking away the constitutionally protected right of a woman in America to have an abortion, which Trump did via the Supreme Court, by Trump taking that right away, the states have now gone too far, and they're doing things like banning, in essence, banning in vitro fertilization, for example, because they're on such a crazy jihad now to basically go after women. What is fascinating to me is this woman is super pro-life. She's super anti-abortion, but she's using abortion as an argument to vote for Kamala Harris and saying, yeah, I'm anti-abortion, but what these Republicans are doing now goes far beyond anti-abortion. They're literally trying to hurt women's health, take women's health decisions away from them on everything, including wanting to have babies, like with in vitro. Just, again, very interesting. Liz Cheney is super smart. Yeah, very interesting across the board. Let me see here. Oh, this is interesting too. So Harris did weigh in about Ukraine today. She said that, oh, thank you, Grumpy. Appreciate that. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Harris said today that Russian President Putin will be sitting in Kyiv if Donald Trump is elected in just over 2 weeks. He has said, Donald Trump, I will solve the matter of Ukraine and Russia in a day. Read through and understand what he is saying. He would surrender, Harris said during the event in Michigan. She added, he would have Ukraine surrender its fight against an aggressor, violating its sovereignty. If Donald Trump were president, Vladimir Putin will be sitting in Kyiv and understand what that would mean for America and our standing around the world. Final point. Oh, I was going to mention this about abortion, actually. I forgot to mention this too. Thank you, Amoto. This November, voters in at least 10 states will take to the polls to determine the future of abortion access in those states. Basically, people are offering state initiatives or whatever, ballot initiatives to either restore or expand the right to an abortion. Now, this is very interesting. Thank you, Hartme and Lori and Amoto again and KT. This is very interesting. 3 of the states include Arizona, Nebraska, and Nevada, which are 3 very important states in terms of, I mean, all the states matter, but 3 super important states in terms of, Democrats and Republicans both trying to go for them. By putting abortion on the ballot, they are giving Democrats a reason to vote. Republicans, less so. Thank you, Kat. Because Republicans kind of feel like, oh, they got abortion now, right? They were able to kill it, so they're fine. But on the Democratic side, it could motivate people even more, which is very, very. See, now, I'm surprised. Holly says, thank you for saying Nevada correctly. I'm not sure I am saying it correctly. I mean, it's sort of the way, I think it's the way we say it here in Chicago is Nevada. But people I know out east say like Nevada or something. But is that like the wrong way? Is that the one that's wrong? Because anyway, it made me laugh because like I said, I just say it the Chicago way, and I always assumed I said it wrong. That's funny. So it is Nevada. That's funny. Yeah, because that's very Midwest though, because of the That's funny. Okay. In any case, so putting abortion on the ballot is a big deal. Or did I say Nevada? Or I said Nevada. Nevada. Okay. Chicago way is correct. Okay. Good. Yeah, New York is Nevada. I was going to say, I remember people out east saying like Nevada or something. Thank you, Courtney. But so putting abortion on the ballot will probably get more Democrats to turn out, which is huge. I will just remind you again, in the last 2 years, what we saw with abortion and elections, Democrats did incredibly well in the last 2 years since Republicans struck down a woman's right to choose, the constitutional protection of a woman's right to choose, a woman's right to an abortion. They killed it 2 years ago. Since that time, we have seen Democrats do exceptionally well in every election. And there's been a lot of little elections that have happened. And they've done like remarkably well. Like no one expected Democrats to do as well as they did in every single election. And the question now becomes, will we see that again in this election? Will this be another election where people are surprised? Or will this be an election where Donald Trump does better because Trump typically does better than the polls suggest on election day, right? So the fact that abortion is on the ballot in like 10 states is great news. The fact that a lot of early voters are voting is great news. There was actually, I was watching a video on Twitter, some big Republican MAGA guy. He's got like 200,000 Twitter followers. And he went around on campus to like make fun of women on college campuses. And he posts this video and goes, watch this video. All these girls on the campus are saying the only reason they're voting for Kamala Harris is because of abortion. And he's spitting this out, thank you, Laddie, and mocking, like basically suggesting like, oh, how silly these women are that they care about the right to choose and that they care about, having sovereignty over their own body. But he's literally making fun of them for saying, and woman after woman says this. Thank you, Eddie. What was interesting to me was, of course, the rest of us are watching going, you're an idiot. You're especially an idiot because you're literally posting a video making fun of women for saying they want control over their own body, which means women will watch this video and get even more pissed off at you, Trumpers, right? But what was also interesting to me is that the Trumpers don't even realize the trouble they're in. The fact that this guy is interviewing all these different women on college campuses and they all keep telling him they're voting for Kamala Harris and their number one reason is abortion means the abortion issue is clearly still there, clearly still there. Very interesting. Very interesting. All right, let's move on to Ukraine. Day 970 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation. There's some significant Ukraine news today, I would say, as well. No, I'm not for turning America into a socialist country. I don't think Republicans should get elected. No. Donald Trump, I mean, basically, let's face it, Donald Trump's two best friends are the communist leader of North Korea and the KGB colonel in the Kremlin, right? Was Soviet basically. So if we're talking about anybody who's a socialist or a communist, it's the Republicans this time. I've said this before. Republicans have become the party of the far left now. Everything the crazy far left used to believe in, they hated the troops. They didn't want to use our military to defend our allies. They don't believe in democracy. They believe in violence. They don't believe in supporting our allies, but they love supporting our. Remember how the far left, they were the ones who supported the communists. They were the ones who loved the Soviets. Though the Russians, right? The Russians couldn't do anything wrong because they were communist. Now who is it? It's the Republicans. I mean, if you think about it, and I wish Democrats had brought this up earlier. If you think about it, right? The people who are the communists and the socialists now, right, are the Republicans. Who is it who wants to control businesses? The Republicans. Donald Trump literally wants to use the government to go after Google because he wants the government to literally, he claimed, take down Google and make it go away, destroy the company. Because get this, Trump says Google's been putting bad things about me in the search engine. Yeah, Donald, that's called like news and media. Who is it who wants to use the government to destroy businesses? That used to be the far left. Now it's the Republicans, right? It's very interesting, very interesting. Oh, Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan would hate these people. And honestly, these people would hate Ronald Reagan. They're no longer Republicans anymore. They're no longer Republicans. Very interesting. Anyway, let's do that one. That's a fun one. All right, let's go on with the news. Anyway, Ukraine news. Reuters: Russian forces are fighting street-to-street battles with Ukrainian troops in the outskirts of the eastern Ukrainian town of Selidove as Moscow's forces push to gain control over the whole of the Donbas region, according to Russian bloggers. Basically, the Russians are continuing to try to advance in the east, and they're slowly advancing. Not much, though. Thank you, Ernie. Russian forces, which Putin ordered into Ukraine in February 22. This was a scary fact, though. Russian forces advanced in September last month at their fastest rate since March of 2022, the first month of the war. That's a scary fact. Now, just because it's faster doesn't mean it's fast, right? Because that first month, the Russians did like a blitzkrieg over all of Ukraine, and it's been bad ever since. So Russia's been stuck for a couple of years now. They're advancing a little, so it would be faster. But my point is, that sounds really scary, but the more I think about it, I'm like, is that comparatively, because Russia's been stuck for 2 years. So any advancement would be huge, right? But it doesn't mean it's a huge advancement, right? Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you, Super Hornet. A little more here. You really don't want to vote green in America, Carrie. Sorry. In Europe, voting green is a great idea. In America, voting green, they're not the same thing as the European Green Party. The American Green Party is basically crazy people. I mean, literally crazy people. The people who run the party. It's Jill Stein, who's this. You could Google her. She's crazy. I mean, she is basically a supporter of the Kremlin. I can't even. She helps Republicans, attacks Democrats. It's sad because, again, the Green Party in Europe has become a real party, obviously, in the last couple of decades. But in America, they're crazy people. It's sort of like people who are communists in America. Actually, what's unfortunate, thank you, Courtney, is the Socialist Party in America is the same way. There are socialists who are normal people. Bernie Sanders is a socialist. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, is probably a socialist. But I think they're both they're to the left of me, but they're normal, smart people, right? Good people. They want good. The socialist leaders, like Democratic Socialists for America, are literally crazy people. So you unfortunately, outside of the main parties, the people running the other parties that don't have any weight anyway, but they're all run by crazy people. So yeah, and libertarians. Oh my God, the libertarians are probably even worse. Look at the libertarians of New Hampshire. They're the ones who came out and lamented the fact that nobody was trying to kill Kamala Harris. I mean, the libertarians are like, again, I know libertarians who are good people, but the parties are crazy people. It's weird. It's kind of weird how it never, like the Green Party especially. Thank you, KT. I don't quite understand why the Green Party in America was never able to get normal people, because you've got normal Greens in Europe. And you could literally make it an environmental party, right? Like, thank you, Katie. Why wouldn't you just make an environmental party? That's an interesting idea, right? And to use it to basically push the environment. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, Katie, again. But Katie's on a spree here. Thank you, Katie. But it's anyway, yeah. So the Green Party is bad, in America at least. A little more here. Oh, this is a wild story. Katie is still on a roll with the gifts. Thank you, Katie. Elon Musk is offering $1 million illegally. Yes. Cap, this was a story I didn't have written down because it happened a few days ago. But Elon Musk is offering like $1 million for people to, what was it, to sign his petition. And thanks for subscribing as well, Katie, to sign a petition. But basically, I don't know, was the petition promising to register to vote or something? Basically, he's offering the $1 million to get people to register to vote. The problem is that's a federal crime. Oh, Blue sent a subscription. Okay, well, actually, that's really funny. Blue sent the subscription, but TikTok must have seen that Katie was sending a bunch of gifts and it gave it to her. Oh, that's very interesting. That's really cute. Thank you, Mrs. Toad, as well, and Aiden. I forgot what we were saying, because the next story I was going to get to is Elon. So Elon is like offering $1 million to one random person who registers to vote, except that in America, that's a federal crime. Oh, she sent it to say, Kate, even better. It's a federal crime. So not clear what's going to happen to Elon next. I doubt it'll be enforced, exactly as Bob just said. Good luck enforcing it, because Democrats don't enforce anything. According to the election experts this weekend, it is blatantly illegal. They were quoting the actual text of the law that says you cannot offer compensation for someone to register to vote. It literally says that. Elon did. But what a surprise. So let me tell you this story. This was fascinating. The Ukrainians have killed yet another Russian commander. The Ukrainians are infamous. I tell you, they're like the Israelis. And I know lately lately the Israelis have been pissing us off. But even if the Israelis make you mad, the Israelis have a history of being, oh my God, kick-ass, right? You take on the Israelis and they will blow you up. And they will, if it takes them 20 years, they will kill every single person who came after them. And that's, by the way, part of what you are seeing with Gaza and everything else is this has long been Israeli policy to go after every single person, every single leader who has wronged them. Obviously, Gaza is its own issue. I know that, right? There's problems there, of course. But just to sort of remind anybody who's young, who isn't aware of Israel as much, their intelligence services are world class, and they get revenge on everybody. Well, yeah, thank you for the gift. Who was that? Sunshine, thank you. Let me read you. This is from, I'm just going to read you the two paragraphs from the Telegraph newspaper. A Russian Air Force commander blamed for a lethal attack on a shopping center in Ukraine has been found bludgeoned to death with a hammer. Thank you, Sunshine, again, multiple gifts. You remember back maybe a year and a half ago? Was it in Kramatorsk? Help me out, guys. Where was the mall? Was it Kramatorsk? Which was it? It was a horrific attack on a shopping mall. I don't remember if I remember it because remember it was the missiles coming in and Putin denied it, and they saw the video of the missiles. Horrific attack. Well, this was again probably a year and a half ago, maybe even 2 years ago. Was it Kramatorsk? I wasn't sure, Carol. Yeah. A year and a half ago, 2 years ago, the Ukrainians got the guy who ordered the attack. Basically, they killed him. Ukraine's military intelligence said that it had assassinated Colonel Dmitry Golenkov, a senior officer in Russia's 52nd Heavy Bomber Regiment. They assassinated him with the hammer of justice. Thank you, Christok. Golenkov was said to be behind one of the most egregious attacks on a civilian target of the war. Images of a rocket striking the shopping center and its aftermath were circulated widely. Now listen to Ukraine's statement today. Ukraine said, a Russian Tu-23 M3 pilot has been liquidated on the territory of the Russian Federation. His head was smashed with a hammer. I mean, I'm like, holy shit. I mean, damn. They have done this repeatedly. The most famous one I think, before this was this Russian submarine commander. And the Russian submarine had launched a lot of cruise missiles or whatever, attacking Ukrainian civilians again. Thank you, Wild Hunt, for subscribing. Attacking Ukrainian civilians. And the Ukrainians went, and I'm trying to think of like what order to put this in to tell you. Thank you, High Tide. This commander had an app on his phone, and it was a jogging app. Thank you, Running. And thank you, High Tide. It was a jogging app. And he would use it. It's an app you can use to like track your jog, and it shows on a map. And it's like for people to kind of brag about how much they've run today. And the guy posted his jogging stuff every day. And Ukrainian intelligence writes in the comments, thank you. The head of Ukraine, Budanov, the head of Ukrainian intelligence, he writes, thank you, shortly after the man is assassinated in the middle of his jog inside Russia. Thank you, adventurers. I mean, incredible what they did to this. They literally, somebody saw the guy was posting this and said, oh my God, you literally know this guy's path every day. And they went along the path and they killed him. And then again, and this is so Israeli, to a degree. It's not really. The Israelis are a little more quiet about it. The Ukrainians to then go to the guy's page online and in the comments of his jog write thank you, and that's it. Oh my God! I mean, unbelievable what these guys do. So Moldova, yes. So we were. Somebody just asked about Moldova. It is on my list. Let's talk about it. Moldova had an election yesterday. Moldova is a small country. Sandwiched between Ukraine and Romania. It's sort of southwest maybe of Ukraine. It has been having problems for decades with the Russians. Basically, they're not a member of the EU. They're not a member of NATO. And they're, sort of fiercely defending their independence, but they're very small. I forget their military. Was their military like 10,000 people or something? It's crazy small. Alexa, what is the size of the Moldovan military?
In 2016, Moldova's total armed forces was 7,500.
Yeah. In 2016, they had 7,000 members of the armed forces. That's it. 7,000 men in the military and women. That's it. That was 2016, but I'm going to guess it's probably not much more now. So you can imagine how small they are, right? Well, the Russians have been trying to kind of take over forever. It's a long story. The Russians spent a ton of money, a ton of propaganda, a ton of dirty tricks to try to steal the election this time because the current prime minister, I'm forgetting her name, Sandu. The current prime minister, Sandu, is up for re-election. Maya Sandu is up for re-election. And she's very good, very strong against the Russians, very supportive of Ukraine. They wanted to get rid of her. And they had a referendum about joining the European Union and said, what do our people want? Well, she ended up winning, although now I believe it's a runoff, but nonetheless, she won. And the pro-European Union referendum won as well. So this was a big blow for Russia because this is typically what Russia's very good at. I know no map. The map is buried. Oh, actually, that map is in DC. That's the map that I'm already spacing out. I'm tired, guys. I'm like, names are slipping. Swedish. Was it Ava? I'm trying to remember now. Oh my God, I'm forgetting. But Ava did a nice map of Europe. It was Ava. Yeah, did a nice map of Europe. And I'm going to, I will have it when I get back to DC in 2 weeks. So Maddie, sponsor you? You've already got a membership, Maddie, if that's what you mean. I'm looking at it right now. It's there. It says SNN next to your name, if that's what you mean. So in any case, big deal for the Moldovans, which is great, and bad for the Russians because the Russians are usually good at screwing this stuff up, but they didn't. South Korea. So this is okay. This is interesting too. Like I said, there's a lot of interesting Ukraine news today. Oh, I think you can do multiple gifts for people. So you could give her another month afterwards. That's not a bad idea. Thank you, Neil, for the gift, by the way. We know that the North Koreans are sending troops to fight in Ukraine. We know that they've already sent about 1,500 special forces to Russia to prepare to fight in Ukraine. The total number of troops they think is going to be 12,000 that the North Koreans are sending to Russia to then fight in Ukraine. Hey Rodi La Villa. from Malaysia. My nephew was just in Malaysia and loved it. He was telling me all about it. He said he was showing me pictures of some sandwiches you make and the food, and oh my God. Anyway, I don't want to get into a long thing about Malaysia right now, but he couldn't stop talking about Malaysia. Apparently, he was like, "You've got to go." So I says, "Okay, I'll go." I think actually, I think you even did Malaysia have like some French sort of style towns as well? No, he wasn't in Vietnam yet. For some reason, I'm thinking there were some areas that might have been kind of French as well that he was surprised. Anyway, very nice. So we know that the North Koreans are sending troops to fight in Ukraine. The South Koreans are not happy about it, obviously. The South Koreans called the Russian ambassador in and basically told him, "You better stop right now." Actually, let me find this really quick. It said, I don't have the quote right here. The South Korean ambassador basically, they told the Russians, "You better immediately withdraw the troops," because South Korea sees it as a threat to them. Thank you, Rune, for the kitty. What is interesting is South Korea has been holding off on direct military aid to Ukraine. They've been giving humanitarian aid, and in a roundabout way, they were giving artillery shells by going through like other countries in a way. Like basically, South Korea sells to this country and then this country gives the weapons to Ukraine, right? This is probably going to open it up now that South Korea is going to directly provide aid to Ukraine, weapons, which is good. Because South Korea is a big provider of artillery and some other things. I forgot what some of the other weapons they provide, but that's really good. Let me see what else I've got here. Anyway, that's a good thing. Russian authorities detained 18 North Korean soldiers who abandoned their positions in Russia's Kursk Oblast. So we had heard about this. We had heard a rumor or whatever that 18 North Koreans had basically defected, who came already to fight for the Russians. And it looks like it's true. They were fighting in Kursk, which is the area of Russia that Ukraine invaded and is holding on to, the small area. And they apparently abandoned their posts, but the Russians caught them. Because I think maybe they didn't know where to go because they were stuck in Russia still, right? And of course, you're a North Korean who probably doesn't speak much Russian, and then you're stuck in Russia. But they've arrested them, which is good. Because, I hope the North Koreans have massive defections, but we'll see. Reuters, excuse me. Ukraine struck a manufacturer of military explosives deep inside Russian territory overnight, as well as storage infrastructure at a military airfield. Ukraine destroyed a Russian Buk air defense missile system as well. Telegraph reports Ukraine is developing a drone capable of intercepting Russian Iranian-designed kamikaze drones, which is great. My favorite part of this story was the Ukrainians are calling the drone that will intercept the kamikaze drones, the Iranian drones the Russians are using, they're calling the weapon Sting. I guarantee you it's being called that because of Lord of the Rings. The Ukrainians call the Russians orcs. And at the beginning, I had asked my friend Vlad, from The Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien, and I'd asked my friend Vlad, our Ukrainian friend, why the Ukrainians call them orcs. I said, "Do you know what an orc is? It's from Lord of the Rings. It's this kind of monster creature." He goes, "Oh, we know. That's why we call them that." Because they're basically like the invading monster hordes, but that are also kind of stupid and now they're calling the weapon that the Ukrainians are going to use, the drone to shoot down other drones, Sting. Sting was the name of the sword of, I believe it was Frodo's, right? Actually, it might have been Bilbo's before. I'm trying to remember, but it was Frodo's sword that he used to fight the orcs. So, it's so like they crack me. It was Bilbo's, but then didn't he give it to Frodo too, though? It cracks me up. It's so brilliant. There's something about the spirit of the Ukrainians that cracks me up. Bilbo's and Frodo's. That's what I thought. Yeah. So they're sticking with Sting because and Sting was I believe, elven-made sword that glowed whenever there were orcs around. So it was a special sword used for killing orcs. Oh my God. Yeah, the vest. We're not going to talk about the vest only because it'll make people confused. But you're right, D. Lyle. A little bit more here. Just looking. I'm going to sort of clip ahead because we've been doing a lot here. Another U.S. aid package to Ukraine. And finally, Navalny's widow. Navalny was the great Russian opposition leader that Putin had killed in prison. Navalny's widow says she will run for president if she can return to Russia. I thought was very interesting. All right, let's do our hangout. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to show you a couple of the auction items. I won't do all. I put like literally 12 or 13 auction items up. I did a bunch of them this weekend. You guys have not seen them. The auctions are still ending on Wednesday. So please go check them out. These are, thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Larissa. These are things from my mom's home because we're clearing out my mom's house for her estate. And you guys had asked and said, why don't you like auction a few of the cool items? I've put a number of the items that are very cool. I'm not going to show you all of them. I'll show you a few right now, but we've got, you know, for example, actually, this one is probably my favorite. It is a Victorian jewelry box, and it is absolutely stunning. It's very heavy metal. You can even hear it. It's super heavy metal. I think the patina is gorgeous. I Googled it online, and they're claiming it's from the year 1900, and it is Victorian. Art Nouveau, because it looks like it's made by elves. Remember that definition I saw of Art Nouveau. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Randy and Fred. And it's still got the original like material inside for the jewelry. Anyway, we think this had to be my grandmother's too, because my mom, this would predate my mom. This had to be my grandmother's. I think it's, again, if I had the room for stuff, I would keep this because I think it's just stunning. But I don't need another thing on the desk, even though even to me, this is stunning. A few other things. We've got, actually, by popular demand, we are auctioning off a tablecloth. This is not the $3,000 tablecloth, but it still is a handmade tablecloth. It comes with 5 napkins as well. You can get some good pictures of it over at Discord. Again, I'm not going to show you too much now. I showed you, I think, the macrame piece. I think it's macrame, but a very cool macrame piece that mom had that, again, looks to me to be somewhat vintage, clearly. And I don't want to show you, like I said, too much right now to waste your time. I just wanted to see like some of the newer pieces. There's actually I will say this. I don't know if people are into this. This is a really cool tea set. This teapot is Royal Albert. I did not know anything about it. My sister saw it like up in the back of the kitchen, and she goes, "This is a really nice." She goes, "That's a really nice teapot." We looked up Royal Albert. It in fact is a very nice teapot. These go for a lot of money. We listed it for much less. So if anybody's into tea, this might be kind of a neat little gift. From what I can see, it's in perfect. I would say from what I can see, because I don't want to be absolute. I don't think there's anything wrong. I think it's perfect condition, actually. But it's a beautiful little thing for anybody who's into tea. As I said, I'm not going to show you everything right now, but there's a lot of other little pieces. And then actually several pieces of my mom's art. And actually, we found another piece that we're going to throw in. There's 3 sort of little ones like this that mom drew. We found a bigger one that she drew as well. So we're going to throw this one in for free. So there's 4 of these little pieces that go together. My mom was a really nice artist. In any case, all right, I'm going to stop with that. Okay, 2 more things. Beautiful German vase. I was Googling this, and I love it because it honestly makes me think the name is Russian or Cyrillic, Russian, Ukrainian. The design to me almost looks like Cossacks dancing, and with the Russian or Ukrainian church in the background with the white. But if you look closely, that's people dancing. They look like Cossacks to me. Anyway, very pretty this. And actually the final thing, I'm trying to be careful and not break stuff. Oh no, I totally see it. Like the first time I just thought that's very pretty. And then I went, those are Cossacks dancing. The final thing, I mean, there's more than just this, but the final thing I will show you is this beautiful Chinese pot that people are already bidding on. It's really pretty. It's in, perfect condition that we can see. It's heavy. It's got the Chinese seal on the bottom. God knows what it's worth. It's a little heavy, I will warn you, because we're going to have to wrap it nicely. But it's another really nice piece that mom had. And I am going to, with that, I will stop showing you stuff. And we can now go and do Q&A and everything else. But like I said, I've got like 12 or 13 things. They're so pretty. for one day. It's a good earn for that one day. I will admit that too. But go check it out. Go check it out. But as I said, the auctions end on Wednesday, I think, this week. And I put a ton of stuff up this weekend that nobody's bid on because people didn't know. Oh, you got them, Dawn. Oh, great. Now, Dawn, I bid last week on these beautiful Japanese teacups my mom had from Japan. And do you see, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but do you see what I mean where the color is so much prettier in person? To me, the color was much darker and more vibrant in person than the photos suggested. Trust me, my nephew and I both looked at those and we were like, oh my God. But there were only two, so I was like, eh. But I really thought about it. I was like, oh. So anyway, you said for your daughter or something. That's nice. That'll be great. Anyway, all right, guys, let's do our hanging out. But yeah, you can find all the auctions over at our Discord. Discord, you guys can find via the link on YouTube. Go to the description of the show. You guys on TikTok, go to the Linktree link in my profile, click it, and it's a list of links that comes up. The top one is Discord. If you're on a computer, you can just click and you're fine. If you're on your phone, click and hold it down, the Discord link, and a pop-up will appear that says accept invite. That's how you join the Discord. It's free. The auctions are on the left-hand side. You just have to register and click to prove you're not a bot or whatever. Anyway, the new American anti-drone system, Leonidas. I've heard of it, but I don't know. The name is familiar to me, but I don't remember. No, Noah, I'm not remembering. Anti-drones. That's not an anti-drone system though. I know we're sending a new, like the 300 exactly. I know we're sending like a new anti-missile system to Israel, but that's not Leonidas, right? Or is it? Because I had read that we were sending a new anti-missile system to Israel for what's going on right now, but I don't think it's that. Or is it that? Is that why the name is familiar to me? I will try to do a recap a little. Oh, that's the ATHAAD. Okay, that's it. I remember it was a different name. Yeah. What you doing, Sash? Oh, did Evan shut the door again? Okay, hold on. My nephew shut the door again. Okay. Go. All right. Sasha, my nephew politely, when he comes through, he shuts the door all the way so that he's not making noise during the show. But my dog hates it because then she's like, I want to go get water. Yeah, the Israelis are working on a laser system. That I know. Was it Iron? It's what's it called? It's not Iron Dome. It's Iron Dome is the current one. What's the laser one called? It's not Iron Shield, or what's it called? It's got some other name for the Israeli laser system. See, Ash. Thank you, Marge, for the glasses. I have not looked into that, Trelfaz. Sorry. Have the nephews enjoying their gunkle? Maybe. Iron Dome? I thought Iron Dome is the current one. Isn't Iron Dome the current one? There's the current system. This is the laser one. What's the current one? Iron Curtain? That's cute. I thought it was Iron Shield was the other one. Yeah, it's Iron Dome is the current one. The laser one is called, I'm getting some yeses here, Iron Beam. Okay, I feel like you guys are guessing here. Space Jam. Okay, Tree, now I know you're being funny. Iron Beam. Okay, a couple people are saying Iron Beam, so maybe that's it. Okay. But that'll be pretty cool if they can get it to work well. Iron Beam. Yep, Alec is saying just looked it up as well. Okay, so Amos was telling us the truth. It's Iron Beam. All right. Thank you, Randy Fred. David Sling. That was they called something else. Something else had the name David's whatever that the Israelis have. The thing is, I don't know if the Israeli laser system is fully functional yet. I don't think it is, but it seems like it's getting there, right? Help me out here, but I seem to think like it's not totally up yet. But it is interesting. There was like a David Shield or David something. I remember that too. David Sling is one layer of the Iron Dome. Incredibly Tired says, interesting. Okay. Because yeah, I remember that term already being used for some weapon system. Interesting. Okay. Anywho, so yes, let's talk, guys. This is where we hang out, we talk. Thank you, Maxabella, for the gift. I know their naming is fun. The name, it's always like biblical and interesting. David Sling is a medium to long range missile defense system developed by Israel to intercept tactical ballistic missiles, medium to long range rockets, and cruise missiles, says Gunther, or looking this up. It forms a crucial layer of Israel's multi-tiered missile defense architecture, sitting between the shorter range Iron Dome and the longer range Arrow systems. Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, so Iron Dome is the short range, then David Sling is medium range, and longer range is Arrow. Okay, interesting. Okay, interesting. Which day of the war? I think I said 970, I think. Again, depends how you count it. For some reason, Google and Alexa count it differently. I don't know why. 970 is what I've got. Yep. 970 of a war that was supposed to last 3 days, according to the Russians. Oops. The first tablecloth, Amanda, we have packed away, and we're just going to have to figure out we're not sure what to do, because it's so expensive that we aren't just going to give it to charity. You know what I mean? But we're also not sure what the heck to do with it. So we're packing it away, and I'm a little afraid it's going to sit for 40, 30 years until we're dead. And then our nephews and nieces have to figure out what to do with it next, I think, is my guess. Yeah, it is getting close to 1,000 days. Yeah. Kamala Harris has not said anything different than Biden on Ukraine. No, Jules, part of the problem is she can't. When you are the sitting vice president and the president is still alive and in power, she can't criticize him. She can't disagree with him. She can come up with new proposals, right? That's possible. Oh, hey, Jamie. Okay. Let me look. I don't go to LinkedIn a lot, but I recognize your name. So I will, when I get to LinkedIn next time, I'll look for your name. It is very poor form to criticize the person you're working for. You can't, because also it'll piss off Democrats. If she criticizes Biden, they like Biden, right? So she has to differentiate herself from Biden, but at the same time, how do you do it when you can't criticize Biden? Oh, do you need to go out? Oh, okay, dogs. All right, we're doing the dog. Okay, guys, I got to get the dog's leash and take her out for 1 second. She's got to go pee. Elderly dog, this is what we do. 1 second. Okay. 1 second. 1 second. Okay. Okay. Sorry. One moment. All right. Oops. Okay. All right. Oops. Sorry about that. This is what happens when you've got an elderly dog. When the dog's got to go, the dog's got to go. Sorry, guys. John does not go too when the dog goes. No. John goes before the show because he's a human being. He knows how to regulate these things. Thank you, Vicky, for the hearts. Anyway, no, exactly. That's the problem, Amanda. It's I think like such an expensive tablecloth that we don't really want to sell it for a couple $100. You know what I mean? Because it just feels bad. Early voting is an indication, Poppy. I think. Yeah. Well, okay. There is a ton of early voting in the U.S. happening right now, sort of an unexpectedly large amount. That suggests enthusiasm. For whom is the question, right? Enthusiasm is good because it suggests more people voting overall, right? And you want more people voting from your party. Typically, early voting is a sign of Democrats because Democrats tend to vote early. So if that holds, this early voting could be very good news for Kamala Harris because it suggests that more Democrats than expected are going to vote, and that's huge for her. So it is a sign, but trying to read the tea leaves. I did see something the other day saying, although it may have only been one state, I don't recall, but saying that more Democrats were registered for early voting than Republicans or something like that. So it can be a very good sign. Yeah. So why isn't the charger on top of the phone? I don't know what that means. I have no idea what that means. You voted today, Katie? Excellent. Exactly. Well, contact me in 30 years, Amanda. Actually, I'm trying to sell my Schwinn bike too. I had a bike for 50 years, a Schwinn Stingray Fastback, 1967. For 50 years, it's been sitting in my parents' garage. Hey, don't you bark at me. What are you, Kukla? Stop that. She says she wants to play. She was screaming at me to play. I'm like, what the hell was that? No, please. Thank you. Oh my God. The dog is like getting more more like oomphy lately. Jeez. She literally screamed at me to play. Remember Kukla? Oh, Kukla, my mom's dog, Kukla, that died last year. Thank you, Vicky, for subscribing. Kukla was funny. Kukla was not the brightest dog, but very sweet in her own goofy way. But she would come and like usually about 15 minutes ago, 55 minutes into the show, thank your world, Kukla would start barking at me to get me to like pick her up or do something. And she'd come and look at me and go, Ruff. And then like it would take a minute and she'd go, Ruff. And she would just keep going, but this very slowly until I picked her up. And then I'd have to like hold her. And then she'd be like, la, la, la. And then everything was fine. It's the funniest damn thing. Yeah, she was funny. Oh, Kukla liked to be held. Sasha does not like to be held, my dog. Sasha lets me, but doesn't like it. Kukla loved it. Kukla was happy to and Kukla was a little heavier than my dog too. So Kukla is like 12-pound dog and you're going, okay, 5 kilos and you're holding her for 20 minutes of the show, but very funny. Yeah. In this case, not based on Kukla, Fran, and Ali. Good guess though. It's based on Greek. The word Kukla in Greek means doll. It also means the same thing in Russian and I think Ukrainian too. Is it the same in Ukrainian? I forget. The tiny dog is my sister's, so it's at her house a few blocks away. But we were house sitting. We were dog sitting because she was sort of on a weekend work or a weekend vacation thing. The sister's puppy is not getting bigger because she's almost 3 years old. That dog is what she is. She ain't getting any bigger. So yes, not at all. Hello, you. What you doing? What are you doing? Paula says one of her dogs named Hope looks a little like Sasha, but she has brain damage. Oh no, she's barking at the bottom of the stairs as the water feeder had run out. So that's smart though. I was going to say brain damage, but smart. I was just going to say that's very smart though. Yeah, Sasha is a Yorkie Bichon. Sister's dog is the cutest dog ever. Sister's dog is cute. And she's very perky and like very, I told you, she's caught rabbits. She's caught like baby rabbits that were this big, like multiples. And we were like, no, stop it. She's quite the little vicious. She's 2.5 pounds. What, like a kilo, a little more than a kilo. And she's this little like, it's very funny. She's a Yorkie poo, but she's clearly got the Yorkie in her, like this sort of tenacious little bitch, basically. She's really funny. Yeah, the museum thing worries me. That's the thing. I was saying, Amanda. Yeah. Everyone's talking about their dogs now. Yeah, we've donated family heirlooms to museums before. They put it on display for a short while, and now it's in the basement of the museum, and I'm kind of pissed we donated it because, like, literally, I'd rather have it and display it, than have it, like, sitting in the basement of a museum. Yorkie poo? Yeah. What else, guys? What else? Feisty. Yeah, again, it's the Yorkie. Sasha's a Yorkie Bichon, which is interesting because that also makes her, well, the Yorkie is feisty. The Bichon is just sweet as hell. That's just, anyway. Ah, what else we got? Thank you. It was Art for Change. Thank you. All right, looking at the auctions, guys. I'm telling you, they end in 2 days. A lot of things are not being bid on because I put them up late, and I'm sorry about that. But please do check them out if you're interested. Like I said, we've got a lot of cool stuff, including the jewelry box has not been bid on, and I'm gonna like slap people if nobody bids on the jewelry box. That thing is too beautiful. But you know, whatever people are into. Anyway, hey Connor, your dog's a psycho and she's currently searching for the cat. That's funny. That's funny. Oh, Pennsylvania Bully Blue. We hope so. Oh, sorry guys. Oh, I even had coffee like right before the show, and I'm still kind of like tired. Oh. Oh yeah, but I was saying, but I'm selling my Schwinn bike on Facebook because it's been sitting in the garage for 50 years, and I finally was like, all right, it's time to get rid of my bike. So trying to sell it. We'll see. Apparently it's quite a desirable bike, which I did not know. So I asked the bike experts, and they gave me like the price to the fair price to put it up at that, you know, hopefully should sell in a week. So we'll see. If it doesn't, I'm putting it in my nephew's garage for another, you know, till next spring, and we're going to try again. So, but anybody who's into old bikes, but the problem is you got to be in the Chicago area because I'm not going to mail it because it's crazy. Ride it around DC. I know, but it has to be. I can put a pic on Discord. Sure, I can put the link. Well, once it's live, I can put the actual link up. But you know, things are going very quiet in the UK about Ukraine. I mean, the latest, the latest is Russia is slowly advancing, but it's slow. It's a tie, and if Trump comes to power, he's going to screw them over by surrendering to Putin. But the Koreans are sending troops. The North Koreans are sending troops, which is bad. I mean, there isn't a lot of news in the sense that it's still kind of a tie. The Russians are advancing very slowly, but Ukraine could be in trouble if Trump gets elected. They will be in trouble if Trump gets elected, because then it's going to be all up to Europe at that point, and South Korea and some other countries, Australia, Canada, but not America, because we're going to be a bunch of wussies. Why are the North Koreans helping Russia? Because the Russians are buying, the Russians are selling oil to North Korea illegally, and they are buying North Korean weapons illegally. And it is giving North Korea a lot of, the oil that they desperately need, but also the money that they desperately need because they're sanctioned by the whole world because of their nuclear program. So Russia is able to give North Korea a lot illegally because that's what the Russians are and that's what they do. But, how is North Korea sending troops not a huge red line? It is, Courtney, but Biden's a wuss. I mean, in many ways he is. Biden's been a big supporter of Ukraine, but he's still a wuss. He's afraid of Putin, and his administration is afraid of Putin. So Putin can do whatever he wants, and Biden's only going to do so much in response. But it's a huge problem for Europe, because you really want the precedent set up of the North Korean communist dictatorship, the worst dictatorship in the world, sending their troops to fight in Europe? Really? Alongside the Russians? This is not a good thing. And once again, NATO should have responded and said, you know what? We've told you before, every time you do something outrageous, we are going to do something escalatory. And in this case, you did something outrageous by inviting the North Koreans in. We are going to now let Ukraine use our weapons to fight long-term into Russia, or, long distances into Russia. But every time for 2.5 years, I've been saying you had to treat the Russians like a little spoiled child and say, if you do this, then you will pay a price every single time, And we should let Poland in. I mean, Poland, Poland should send troops. The French should send troops. France might send troops. I wouldn't be surprised. If France sends troops, to be honest. Let's see. But I think they're much closer now that the North Koreans are sending troops. Yes, we do not have any. Our tablecloths are not Greek, though. We're Greek, but the tablecloth was made somewhere else, probably. Well, that we don't know, Connor. I mean, in the North, I was reading today. It is, we know that among the North Korean troops being sent to Ukraine, 1,500 of them are special forces. it is thought that they are the highest, well, they are the highest trained forces in North Korea. They've got the latest equipment. Does that mean they're good? We don't know. I mean, they haven't really fought any wars in 70 years. So that's not very good. I mean, for them, right? You can only train them so well, but if these men have never fought, that's a little weird. But we don't know. I think that this is probably, it's not good that the North Koreans are going to be fighting in Ukraine or are already fighting like on the borders against Ukraine, but it is good in terms of the intelligence we will be able to gather about North Korea's forces. How well do they fight? Do they defect? When we get people that we capture either as defectors, well, not even capture as defectors, but get defectors or capture the troops, what will they tell us about the state of North Korea's military? Are people unhappy? Are they starving? Do they have enough food? What is the state of the North Korean economy? Right? Are people starving, which we know typically they have been. So the North Korean thing could be a big intelligence bonanza for the West, but at the same time, it's very dangerous for Ukraine and very dangerous overall. But yeah, if they start to defect, that'd be cool. That'd be very cool. South Korea's military, I am not a military expert, but South Korea's military, from everything I know, is pretty good. And we've done a lot of joint trainings with them. We've provided a lot of weapons. But somebody else want to weigh in that knows South Korea better? And they've had to be good because the North Korean threat is so great. And Seoul, the capital of South Korea, is something like 18 miles or something from the border with North Korea, which is, what would that be? 8 kilometers? I mean, it's nothing. So they've got to be good to prepare them. So yeah, Peter saying they're not a military you want to mess with. Access High says Access High, they've been preparing for their neighbors. South Koreans are incredibly well trained, says Connor. Yep. Julian says you don't want to mess with the South Koreans. So yeah, so the South Korean military is very good, which is good. Yeah, Donald, I think the jewelry box thing, we don't know the story behind it. So we think it was my grandmother's. I think if we knew, somebody was asking a question about the jewelry box, if we knew it was my grandmother's, then I think it would have been more interesting. But now we just know it was my mom's, and my mom had a lot of stuff. So it's not as interesting of a family story as my grandmother's, and my grandmother died 30 years ago. So that would be really cool because it really goes back. You know what I mean? So Poland ordered 1,000 South Korean tanks. Oh, they do tanks too. That's interesting. I mean, Amanda says, what do you think South Korea is going to do about it other than increase aid to Ukraine? I think they're going to increase aid to Ukraine. Yeah. They're going to openly sell weapons to Ukraine now, which is huge though. And it's not good for the Russians. So, but other than that, I'm not sure what else they can do, well, I don't know that we're going to up our game. I mean, ACES says we'll up our game finally. Not if Trump gets elected, right? I don't know if other countries will jump in, Jacob. I mean, as far as, because the thing is, the countries that are helping are already helping. And if anything, we're worried about them getting fatigued, right? I mean, North Korea and South Korea has a direct involvement because North Korea is on their border and a threat to them. And I think some of the concern with the South Koreans is if the North Koreans are getting this close to the Russians, if North Korea ever tries to invade South Korea, will the Russians now help them in return? Right. So I think that's why South Korea is getting particularly sort of upset about all of this. Could the South Koreans theoretically construct nuclear weapons very quickly? I guess Noah's asking, would we give them nuclear weapons? Probably not. But I mean, they're under our nuclear protection, at least currently. Doesn't mean Donald Trump will do it. South Korean son-in-law is in the Marines and being deployed in August in South Korea. He's a South Korean Marine, you mean? Interesting. What do you do? About the election ultimately? What do you mean? What do I think? Ultimately, it's tied between Harris and Trump. It's tied. And I'm worried about that. If the election keeps going the way all the elections have for the last 2 years, and Democrats do way better than expected because of abortion, we'll win. if the election goes the way of the previous two elections where Trump did way better than the polls suggested, he'll win. It's very, very, very bad. Harris is a horrible candidate. No, she's not. No, she's not. I mean, she's just not. People, I think like the Republicans try to demonize her too. And like, she's good. She's smart. She's strong. Honestly, her biggest weakness as a candidate is that she's a woman. And I mean weakness as in the problem with sexist American culture, because we don't elect women as president, not yet. I mean, we kind of did in 2016 because Hillary won the popular vote and she got cheated by, Trump and the Russians and everybody else in the FBI. But Kamala Harris, she's smart. She's personable. She's likable. She's pretty, which helps too, frankly, because she looks nice. And that's not a bad thing if you're trying to sell, politics, you're selling a product, right? She's got a lot of good ideas. I mean, she's got a lot of ideas for stuff she wants to do. She's a little to the left of me, but honestly, better than a guy who tried to violently overthrow the government, who's a pig. She's experienced. She was a prosecutor, which I like. Immigration. I wish Democrats overall were stronger in immigration. Democrats are not, okay, let me rephrase this. Democrats do not want to close all the borders. Republicans do. Well, Republicans want to let in white people. They don't want to let anybody who's not white. Democrats are much more pro-immigration. She showers. She does do that versus Trump. This is true. Democrats have always been a little too freewheeling about immigration for my taste. And it's because of political reasons, in part. And I think they're wrong about this. Democrats think, well, most of the people coming here illegally are Latino from Latin American, and we've got a lot of Latino voters in America, and we don't want to upset the Latino voters. A lot of Latino voters are not thrilled about people coming here illegally. But nonetheless, Democrats are not great on immigration, but they're great on almost everything else, including now national security, including now domestic security, support for democracy, support for education, support for seniors, support for women, support for every minority on the planet, from blacks to gays to, Muslims, anybody else. Democrats are going to be your ally. Republicans aren't. The economy. Democrats have always done better with the economy. The budget. Oh my God. Democrats have always done better in terms of the deficit than Republicans. So, on immigration, yeah, Democrats are going to be worse. On Israel, Democrats are going to be more concerned about Israel, but I got news for you. Joe Biden, there's a reason that a lot of the young kids are still pissed at Joe Biden, because he still supports Israel. Democrats still support Israel. They do. The party does. So, that you couldn't even say he's bad on, or Kamala Harris is bad on Israel. No, she's not. But Donald Trump already said, he said last week, well, Trump went to an event with this Arab American mayor in Michigan, Republican, who was endorsing him. And Trump goes to the event to say how he's going to be great for Arab Americans, whatever. And of course, Arab Americans are upset at Biden because of his support of Israel. Trump, right before the event, goes to Detroit and does like an interview, I think with the paper. And during the interview says, I've got a phone call with Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, coming up. And I'm going to tell him, you're doing a great job in Gaza. This is literally minutes before Trump goes to hold an Arab American event in Michigan to say he's so much better than the Democrats. I'm going to tell him he's doing a great job in Gaza. And I'm going to tell him Joe Biden is wrong for not supporting you 100%. And I think he said, and trying to get you to back off. He criticized Biden, Trump did, because Biden was trying to get Israel to basically stop, or at least, cut back a lot on the violence. So I got news for you. If you think Israel should be more violent to the Palestinians, then Donald Trump is your man. Yes. If you think Israel should be less violent, it's the Democrats. There's no question. But it really was pretty funny. He's literally holding an event. He's holding an event to cater to Arab Americans. And literally minutes before the event, he goes, Bibi's doing a great job in Gaza. and Biden shouldn't be holding him back. He should do even more. Okay, Donald, you go, girl. So anyway. Ooh la la. Trump is definitely now having the same problem as Biden. It caught up with him. The problem is it may not have caught up with Trump early enough is the problem. Trump needs to, we're only 2 weeks from the election. The wig is buried in my room upstairs, Dawn. Sorry. I'm visiting, I'm at mom's house. So everything sort of went upstairs and it's too complicated to go find it now. Oh, we're already an hour and a half. I'm going to end it. Maybe take another question or two, but I'm going to end it shortly. This has been a good chat today. Actually, I didn't even notice the time flew like that. And I'm going to go make a little frozen Trader Joe's dinner. Head back to DC in 2 weeks, finally, Chaz. So, trans women using men's bathrooms. Trans women? Well, trans women don't use men's bathrooms. Trans men use men's bathroom, actually, and don't really care because they're going to be using the stall anyway. So, as a guy, I couldn't care less. No problem, Connor. Yeah, you asked good questions. It was worth it. So happy to. Yes, I will. I don't check LinkedIn a lot, Jamie, but I should, or DM me on Instagram. That's even worse. Instagram, I got to check again. I never check the messages on Instagram. Facebook, I've been trying to. The thing is, I use Twitter a lot and I use TikTok a lot, although the messages on TikTok get overrun too. Oh, I never want to run for president. Oh God. Thank you, Alan, for the gift. Yeah, I've only been to Ukrainian Village, like passing through once. It was fun, but I've never really gone to eat there too, which, would be nice. Thank you, Marsha. We did go to a little Ukrainian store that was cute. Trump said he is not 80 and actually far away from being 80. He's 78. Exactly, Mike. No, Trump has gotten old. And the question is whether it's enough to catch up with him before the election. But there's been a lot of reporting. He's not doing, he's always been crazy and always been undemocratic and violent and everything else. But he's gotten weird. There's something wrong with him. Like we said, like the 39 minutes of dancing on stage, instead of holding his town hall meeting, he just stopped it and started dancing for 39 minutes. That's like sundowning kind of behavior. That's weird. He's been canceling events left and right, which suggests there's something physically wrong with him, or mentally, again, wrong with him that they had to cancel. But canceling things left and right, though. He doesn't have the stamina to be president at this point. But let's see. And again, and JD Vance, preparing to take over, really. Do Dems do enough about his age? Kamala Harris has been talking a lot about Trump's ability, not his age per se, but saying that he's lost a step and there's something wrong with him. She's been hitting on it very hard, actually. Yeah, he's worn out from working at McDonald's. Exactly. Did they go after Kamala for dancing? I forgot about that, Amanda. Was that part of it? I forgot that was part of it. That's funny. Yeah. No, he's look, again, the Biden thing, I was trying to be nice, but Biden's too old to be president. And Trump is now clearly too old to be president too. Women tend to age more slowly than men. I've seen women this old who have clearly been like Nancy Pelosi, Hillary Clinton. She's not this old. Hillary's getting there though. She's 76. How old is Hillary? Alexa, how old is Hillary Clinton? Alexa, how old is Hillary Clinton?
Hillary Clinton is 76 years old.
She's 76. Yeah. But Hillary has kept it together. Trump is now an old man. He's having issues. I hear you. Hi. I know. Okay. We're going to play now. All right. Dog's getting pissed. I've got my absentee ballot here, Susan. So I'm going to vote here. Or vote here with my absentee, Bill's showing his age. And Bill had the heart attack and stuff too. So he's always been like looking older. He had to lose a ton of weight, but he always looked, 1 second, Sash. He always looked pretty old, but he's getting old. Yeah. We went and met him 20 years ago. He met with a bunch of bloggers at his New York office. Amazing. And we sat down with him for like 2 hours and I got to sit right next to him. I kind of maneuvered to sit next to him because people were being polite. And I'm like, screw this. I'm going to sit next to Bill Clinton. Are you kidding? So went to sat next to him for 2 hours. It was, and I don't even remember. We talked about everything, the Middle East, the economy, every topic we brought up. This is now, maybe 5, 8 years after he was president, every topic we brought up, boom, 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 boom. The man knew the topic inside out. It was amazing, absolutely amazing. And of course, what did I do? I've always had bad allergies, and for some reason at that time, I would get nosebleeds from my allergies because I'd be like doing this. Actually, you know what? Now I get allergy shots. I wasn't getting allergy shots back then. I didn't think about it. I used to always get, like, I get itchy occasionally during the show all the time, and I'm itching my nose, and my nose starts bleeding, and I knew what it felt like, and I was like, and I don't think, and I think I didn't have a Kleenex, and I went, oh my God. I covered my face like this, and I got up and walked out of the room. Mind you, we're at a long table. I'm at the back, like the back of the table. Bill Clinton's here and I'm right next to him. So to get out, I've got to go all the way around the table and out the room. I went like this, got up, walked out. People noticed. Nobody noticed it was my nose. Later, and I went to his staff and I was like, I'm having a nosebleed. Where's the bathroom? And I went for like 10 minutes and it stopped and I came back. People asked me later and they said, what were you doing? Why did you have to go to the bathroom? Like, nobody noticed I went like this and was running. So I was like, oh, thank God. Because I'm thinking I got a nosebleed like in front of Bill Clinton. But he was amazing. Absolutely brilliant man. Absolutely brilliant man. The question is not how democratic I am. It's how American I am. Although if you use Democrat with a small d, I'm very democratic. Unlike, unfortunately, too many Republicans today who don't believe in democracy anymore. But I go back and forth. I'm very strong on defense, which used to be conservative. Now, of course, that's Democrat too. But being strong on defense and using America's military when necessary, defending our allies, defending democracies around the world, standing up to totalitarian dictators like the Russians and the North Koreans and the Chinese around the world used to be a very conservative point of view. It's still my point of view, but now it's a Democratic point of view because Republicans no longer believe in America's military or in America or in democracy or in standing up to our enemies. So it's kind of confusing what you want to label people nowadays, I think, honestly. But I used to be kind of Democratic on domestic and kind of Republican on foreign policy until the Republicans surrendered to our enemies and refused to defend America. So, as I call it, when Republicans started to blame America first, I stopped siding with the Republicans. James cannot access the auction. I'm not sure what you mean, James. What do you mean you contacted them? Who's them? If you're over there, you need to go to the support section and click the button and put a support thing in. Or you mean you can't even auction or access Discord? Because Syndicate can help you access them if there's a problem. Or you mean you put a support thing in for Syndicate? He's usually very good about seeing that. The Canadian president, I've not seen anything. Canadian president or prime minister, you mean? But I've not seen anything. Do make sure you've done that. Make sure you've submitted a support ticket because Syndicate sees them like within a day. He's always been good about that. Bill Clinton wore French perfume. I wore French cologne too. Are you kidding? I love French cologne until my allergies stopped me from wearing it. I had a wonderful French cologne called Amen. That was sort of like amen, but it was also to men, like kind of a thing. And it smelled like chocolate, caramel, and coffee. And I would wear it in the winter, and I loved this cologne. I remember when I was in the airport in France, and I had 2 hours. I went to the perfume, whatever you call it, store, because you can imagine the Paris Paris airport, it's huge. And I said, I've got 2 hours free. Show me what you got. And these women were like, okay. And they took me around, and that's when they showed me this one. And she was like, coffee, chocolate, and caramel. And I went, oh my God. Because and it was a wonderful cologne for the winter. And then I became allergic to colognes, and that was the end of that. No more cologne for me. But I love that stuff. Oh, it smells so good. So good. All right, guys, we're going late now. It is 6:40. I'm gonna hang up. But James, do put in a ticket, please, because Syndicate will help you for that. I can access Discord, but not the auction. Oh, hold on. Let me look right now before you hang up and make sure when I check the thing that we actually see you in the support area. Hang on. hold on. Or is the support area at the bottom now? This always confuses me. Hold on. No, it's at the top. Hang on. Let me just look quickly here and then we'll get going. Support. Yeah, it's under the welcome. There's nobody has asked for support there, I think. There's nobody there. I mean, there's no request that's pending, I think. I mean, I'm looking at it right now. There's nothing there, James. Go to the support section. It's under welcome, sort of at the very top. You see John's after party, and then the next section is welcome. Look at support, which is the 4th entry under there. Click it and submit a ticket because I'm not seeing even a ticket from you, which means Syndicate had no reason to contact you. You know what I mean? So do it again. All right, please. Art for Change can't find the auction either. No. Okay, if you've well, let's hope it's not broken again. Actually, people that people here who also typically know the Discord, who are members of the Discord already, go and check it out and make sure you can see the auctions. But as long as you verified yourself, you should see the auctions on the left-hand side. Art, it should be right there. Yeah, the items are individual tags, and it's under a section called public auction. Now, the only thing is some of these things are drop downs. So you might have to hit the drop down to see the auctions under it. Like public auction, if it's sitting there, click the little thing and they drop down. Martin's seeing them. Okay. Becky couldn't see them. Well, it was broken a couple weeks ago, but it should be fine now. I'm hoping, only because we did have something broken a few weeks ago. I want to make sure it's not like a larger problem we're having, because that would be a problem. But we did fix the larger problem a couple weeks ago. But you got to make sure, like I said, that the drop down is there. Danny sees them. Okay. 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 K9 seeing them too. Okay. People can see them, Diana. All right. All right. Okay. Amanda's seeing it too. Okay. I mean, at least enough people are seeing it. The only question is new people. I don't know if new people, the registration might not be working, or whether you do. In other words, you have to click a thing that says verify. You bid on it. I was going to say, James, that sounds familiar to me. You bid on stuff before. Okay, you've got to submit a support ticket, though. You've got to, because that gives us more background as well. Okay, so go to the welcome section near the top left, 4th topic under it. Read me, please verify general rules and support. Click on support and submit a ticket, please, because Syndicate will check it out. But let him know, you've bid on items before even, and you can't get it to come up now. All right. All right, please do. All right, guys, I'm going to get going here. Because I would say, Syndicate, even if I told Syndicate about it, he'd say, tell him to submit a support ticket because it helps him in terms of sort of dealing with it. What time tomorrow? Same time as always, 5 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Central Time, 6 o'clock Eastern Time US. We'll do the show again. Maybe not go this long, but who knows? We did go long today. That's fine. Thanks for the gifts, guys. Thanks for joining us. Like I said, do check out the auctions in Discord. They end in 2 days. We got a lot of cool stuff. At least half the items have not been bid on. I'd say 2/3 of the items have not been bid on because I put them up late this weekend. So there's a lot of cool stuff. Please check it out. 6 o'clock Eastern Time, exactly, US. All right. Exactly. Vote, vote, vote. I will see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a good night. YouTube and TikTok.